Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Tea from the Galaxy, a thirst quenching podcast for the girls, gays, theys, and astrology baes, where we talk about anything and everything through an astrological lens. Happy Sagittarius season, guys. For this episode, we are talking all things Sagittarius, and I had to bring the one and only Sagittarius King, Nasir, on, a.k.a. Abundantly Nas 444 on TikTok. We have been TikTok mutuals for a while now. I love his content. He is an astrologer and just a spiritual being, and his content just radiates positivity and light. And I knew that he is a Sagittarius Sun and rising, so I was like, I need you on this podcast episode for the Sages, for Sagittarius season, to kind of give us a rundown on what it means to be a Sagittarius, what it feels like, how being a Sagittarius influences you, and what is currently happening to the Sages and coming towards the Sagittarius placements. So I really think you guys will enjoy this episode, whether you are a Sag placement yourself or you are watching for the Sages. I think there's a lot to be learned in this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I enjoyed recording it. So thank you guys, and let's just get into it. Happy Sagittarius season. A couple questions that I like to ask people on the podcast, we can get to know you a little bit better, is your age, your pronouns, your sexual identity, and your big three. You can
All right.
answer all of them or none of them or whatever you feel comfortable with.
So my name is Nasir, and I am a Sagittarius Sun, an Aries Moon, and a Sagittarius Rising.
Okay.
I'm a bisexual, and my pronouns are he, him.
Okay. Also, another thing that I like to talk about on this podcast is something that I wanted to bring to light because I'm also a part of the LGBTQ community, the alphabet mafia, what me and my friends call it, queer astrology. So that's definitely something that we can. I actually didn't even know if you were part of the alphabet mafia or not, but
Oh,
I love
yes.
that you are. Okay. Let's get into it. So that's definitely something I don't know if you saw that I like to touch upon on this podcast as well, like astrology, but also queer astrology. But most of this episode is going to be on what it means to be a Sagittarius. I don't have any Sagittarius placements in my chart. I'm just part of the Sagittarius, Pluto and Sagittarius generation. So I was like, who to better have on this podcast than the Sagittarius King? I knew that you were a Sagittarius and you were Sagittarius rising. Do you have any other Sagittarius placements in your chart?
Well, I'm a part of the Pluto and Sagittarius generation too,
Okay.
and then my South Node is in Sagittarius too.
Oh, okay. So it's squaring the nodes right now.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I'm 22, and I'll be 23
Okay.
next week.
Okay, I was gonna ask when your birthday is. Okay, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit, like describe yourself a little bit, like how did you get into astrology? Well, we've been mutuals on TikTok for a little bit of time now, but I reached out to you. I thought you were a perfect guest for this podcast because I love your content that you put out on TikTok. I think that you radiate such a positive energy and aura that every time like I see your videos pop up on my TikTok, it's just, and I don't even know if you realize that about yourself, but I feel that from you that it's just like good energy. Like you release good energy. Really connected with you in that way. And I really wanted to connect with you more through just like TikTok and kind of learn more about you, how you got into astrology, your spiritual journey too. I know you're very spiritual. I see the stuff that you post on TikTok.
Well, thank you so much. That actually is pretty special to me. And sometimes, like, I feel like I'm a little too silly when it comes to the things I'm in because some things are really serious. But
Yeah.
one of the things I've learned is like you gotta balance in the silly, the fun, and the play with with life. I don't know. It just makes life better, and it cheers people up, and it's just nice. So thank you for saying that, firstly.
Yeah, of course.
And to get into my journey, well, we'll just start from the beginning.
Hmm.
So I came from a long family of like travelers and people who are in the military. So already in the beginning of my life, I was moving a lot. So before I was even
Mm.
into astrology or maybe even knew I was Sagittarius, I was traveling like once a year, maybe sometimes even like twice within a year. Some were short distance, most were like to other states until my mom joined the army, which is also funny because I'm Aries moon and the moon can represent the mom. So like she was in the military, Mars, that's war.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it literally gets so literal sometimes.
Yeah.
But we would move all the time, and I just had to learn how to like be myself in different places and like learn to incorporate different things that I learned from places into like my identity based off of like what I've learned and different kinds of stuff like that. And then I also come from a very long like line of priests and like evangelists and just like people who or family who was in the church community, like Catholicism, Christianity, like Baptist, like, all that.
Mm.
And I was like a part of it too, because that's what I grew up into. But on a personal level, I just always knew that there was something more than just like us. And I knew that there was like a higher force out there. And I
Hmm.
just happened to be born into a family that practices a certain way. So I was like, okay, well, this is where I'll fit in. So, that's where I was for a while. And it was nice, I was an usher and I went to church with grandma and my siblings and like everything. But as I started to get older, I would just hear like certain things that would stand out to me, like in services and stuff. And then obviously as I got older, I started to recognize like my preference and stuff. So I was like figuring myself out. But the way they talked about like people of our community can be like a little just like inhumane sometimes, downright.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was like, well, how am I a part of this like group, this community who feels this way about like people and they can be like the best person in the world, but they happen to like someone that goes against the book and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they're deemed like bad. So
Hmm.
that was already something that stood out to me at an early age. But throughout all the moving and stuff, I ended up here in Texas. And that's after 19 schools, or no, 18 schools. So I started my 19th
Wow.
year. Yeah, it was a lot.
That is a lot. Was that hard, like to adapt to each school or living situation? And did you find that you were able to like easily adapt to wherever you were?
Well, it definitely took me some time to adapt. Like maybe after middle school, it got easier, but
Hmm.
it definitely was hard at first because, you move somewhere and you kind of, as a kid, expect to be there for a while, like get to grow up with your friends and stuff. But that kind of was never the case for me. Like I still
Mm.
have some social connections with a lot of friends from different parts of the country that I grew up with. But like, I don't have that like childhood best friend and like, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it was kind of hard to adjust in that way. And then we go into the new schools. I was always like the new kid, and like people didn't know me for what I was because they just
Yeah.
didn't know me, and I just had just popped up. So it was like a
Yeah, that's
constant.
hard.
Yeah, it was. It was like a constant, like having to re-explain myself, and then like just having to put myself out there to make friends because I love being around people. But if I don't know anyone, it's like got to make those connections.
Yeah.
Even the kids will act differently depending on where you are. So it's like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first off, that's so literal Sagittarius, like Sagittarius being known for traveling and long distance traveling and like the the urge to travel or the want, the need to travel, and it just so happens that you grew up like having to travel. Do you find yourself like still liking to travel, or do you find yourself like craving more stability, like just being where you're at?
So I definitely still find myself able to travel. Uh,
Yeah.
I've actually had to do some shadow work for some time, even still actively, of not just traveling every single time that I want to, because
Mm,
there's like financial obligations and stuff that have to be attended to, which I
yeah.
mean, is important, but the urge is always there. Like it started with the family and it kind of wasn't my choice, but then once I got old enough to like, get my own plane tickets or like think thoughts of my own when it comes to trips. I've been like going to a lot of places. Like there was even one time in high school, it kind of was like spontaneous and maybe a little irresponsible,
Hmm.
but it was the week after spring break, but it was spring break for my friends in California, and that's where I lived after or before Texas. So I was like, okay, well, we just got the stimulus check. That was back, during the COVID and the
Mm,
checks.
hmm.
And I was like, and my spring break's over, but we're on Zoom, so I'll be home anyway. So I was like, what if I just buy my first ever plane ticket for myself? So
Hmm.
I got with my friends, they helped me get the plane ticket, and I flew back to California and escaped there for a week. And it was literally the best week ever. Like, I just had my phone off for most of the time, and I was just with my friends, and we would go out to eat and like spend time with their families. I got to see like all my old places, and we took a road trip to LA. It was like the time of my life. But then when I turned back on my phone, my mom was calling in the school and my grandma, everyone.
You were like, damn.
Yeah, it was
Back to
pretty tiring,
reality.
definitely. But it was definitely worth it, and it was a lesson learned after all. But I
Hmm.
just do love to travel. I feel like every single place that I've gone to and plan to go to, there's something there waiting for me or an experience waiting to be had.
Yeah. And you also have your South Node in Sagittarius, you said, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you almost find comfort in that. It's very interesting that you grew up like surrounding that in this lifetime, but you also definitely probably grew up similar to that in past lifetimes too. And it's also interesting that you said that you come from a line of, you grew up around like religion and that was like prominent in your life. You definitely mastered that in a past lifetime too. I feel like you definitely came from a lineage of like high priestess and priest and stuff like that. I always say, I think you saw my TikTok video, but the pipeline of Sagittarius is like class clown to like the priest,
Oh yeah.
like that is literally Sagittarius. Sagittarius people can think that they are goofy or all over the place or like unpredictable, but a very wise Sagittarius is a master of like philosophy, spirituality, religion. Like they are the priests, the nuns, the professors, the teachers, like people of high regard and high respect, and especially like in the spiritual field as well. So I think that's very interesting. I think it's like, did you always feel this innate knowing of, I think you said it, this innate knowing of like just something bigger, something
Yeah.
more? Yeah.
Ever
You
since I
def
was a kid, because like, or sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say you definitely like your past lifetime was definitely something in that regard, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, that resonates actually.
Yeah.
But
Having a Sagittarius South node for sure. Hmm.
and the thing is, I really haven't looked much into my South Node, and like even though, I'll do readings for like other people, the South Node, I just feel like I just need more information on it, honestly.
Yeah, I love studying the nodes because even though it's not like a placement, it's an astrological point, the North Node and South Node in your birth chart. That studying the South Node, you can see like where you came from in past lifetimes, and then studying the North Node, you can see kind of like your higher purpose and where you're meant to go. It's almost like your highest self, and they're in an opposition, so you need to find the balance. You need to like learn how to, it's not disregarding or ignoring where you came from, but it's learning how to incorporate what you already know with and this innate knowledge within you, what you have gained from past lifetimes, and using that to help you in regards of like reaching your highest power and your highest potential. So for me, actually, like for example, I have my South Node in Pisces and my North Node in Virgo. So I have this innate feeling that like since I was young, I was always doing something creative. Like I was a good student, but I hated being told what to do. I hated school. I was always like a crafty kid and always doing something in that regard. Now as an adult, I know that I am not meant to work a typical like 9 to 5. I know that I'm meant to do something in the creative fields. So from a past lifetime, I feel that. Like I feel like I was a creative. I've mastered this sense of kind of flowing nature. But in this lifetime, I'm actually meant to be more organized, more disciplined, more like I say, people who have Virgo MCs or North Nodes or Virgo and their big three, you have to be organized in order to succeed. Like that is whatever type of organization it is. For me, it's like literally a to-do list. I feel most successful and I get most of my shit done when I make a to-do list. And when I'm organized like that, then I'm able to be creative. And it's like that balance of because I'm this way, I can be this way because I have this knowledge already. And because I have this knowledge, it's the backbone of my success. But I need to live life in this light, which feels very odd and uncomfortable for me because I never lived life like that before. So that's kind of like the balance of working with the nodes. Sagittarius is like one of the signs that is so predictable in a way that I want to say Sagittarius, especially in the sun, rising in Mercury, almost every person I know who has those placements or one of those placements, they love to travel. My Sagittarius friend right now is in the Peace Corps in Costa Rica, and she's
Hey,
just always all over the place. So, you being a Sagittarius and a Sagittarius rising, how do you think that you relate to being that Sagittarius archetype of like traveling, open-minded, optimistic, but also, sometimes Sagittarius gets like bad reps too, like impulsive, erratic, do you relate to that, especially because you have a ri Sagittarius rising, so it's like not only who you are to your core, but it's also how you perceive the world too. You're like a Sagittarius through and through.
I would definitely agree with that. Like both the like light and shadow sides of the
Hmm.
Sagittarius. So like ever since I, really got into my sign and like understood a little more about Sagittarius and learning astrology on my own, and then I started to analyze my life and then also my desires. And there always is a desire to travel. And even if it's not like a trip or like a road trip or like a vacation somewhere, like I prefer to go like the scenic route or like let's go a little further this time in the hike or like let's just go to like one more extra store or like let's just go somewhere. Like I'm
Hmm.
always trying to go somewhere, do something and expand in any kind of way. Like even if I'm painting something and I think the painting's done, I'm like, maybe a few hours later, I'm like, I can add some more to this. Like, it's that expansion
Hmm.
that's there, and I definitely do see it. And then even on some of like, where we get the bad rep, I can be pretty blunt, and sometimes I can hurt others' feelings, especially with it coming to me being like an empath. I can literally feel the energy that's
Mm.
present around me. So like I might say something and it could be just like how it, was received in my head. So that's what I'm gonna say it. But then like for that split second, I don't consider how that might make someone feel because I wasn't trying to be mean. So
Yeah.
that happens sometimes. And then I also can be impulsive. It's worked out in bad ways sometimes, but for more times than others, it's definitely worked out in ways that were beneficial to me or the situation in general.
Hmm.
But sometimes, it can be fast actions, fast decisions, or like quickly agreeing on things or overcommitting. Definitely. I've had to work.
Ooh, big Sagittarius thing.
Yeah.
Overcommitting. The over optimism. You're ruled by the planet Jupiter. So it's overly optimistic, but also like the planet luck. Like a lot of the times it works in your favor, even if you don't notice it in the moment. It's like ends up working out in the bigger picture of things. It can be impulsive and sometimes it can land them and like, oh shit. But a lot of the times Jupiter has your back and is like, oh, okay. You know what? I learned from that. That's like the Sagittarius pipeline. Like, I'm gonna turn this suffering into esoteric like wisdom, that
Definitely.
that is, and then you have an Aries moon on top of it too, so it adds to like it's like fire to the fire.
Yeah, the Aries moon most of the time runs the show. Like if there's something that like happens, because I can be kind of sensitive too when it comes to the Aries moon. Like if
Hmm.
there's something that happens that like affects me emotionally in some sort of way, I have a good way of holding myself together. But if I'm like feeling like some sort of way about something that happened, like whatever mission I was on, like whatever I was trying to pursue, will not flow through like effectively until my emotions are like addressed. Like it
Yeah.
literally, like the fire just blares up and like not even in an aggressive way most of the time. It's just like no one talk to me right now. Like I just can't believe this happened. I need to like process this and work this out and then let's go. It's usually pretty quick too.
Yeah. Yeah, especially that fire in the big three, but the Aries moon definitely runs the show. Like that is who you are emotionally. I dated a girl briefly who had an Aries moon with a Leo sun. So she was also very, very fiery. She was a Leo stellium with an Aries moon, and she was definitely like that too. Like gets over things quickly, but needs to address it in the moment, which it's it was definitely a change of pace for me because I have a Capricorn moon. So I
Oh,
am
yeah,
not
straight.
like that. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I need like 3 business days to like process this emotion. Like, and the Aries moon, my Aries moon ex was like, no, we could talk about it right now. I'm like, ah. So you're into astrology, but I also see that you're into like, are you into like sound healing too? Like sound frequency healing? I
Yes.
saw some of your TikToks.
It's actually just started recently. At first, I thought it was just like music, but then it got deeper because it's like the frequencies behind the words and the beats and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm.
I got some sound bowls and a few tuning forks. I still want to get a crystal sound bowl. Maybe I'll start going live on TikTok. But
Ooh, you should.
yeah, people have said I should. I've just been a little shy not to be. That's what I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
so I would love to eventually get into that. I have been wanting to indulge more in hobbies. I am a person of many hobbies. Do you relate to that, being a Sagittarius?
Definitely. I'm definitely multi-passionate, even when it comes to like professional work, you would say. Like
Yeah.
I usually have a part-time job that gets swapped out like maybe every few months or year or so. The last one just got swapped out. But
Mm.
I make jewelry as well and sell that
Okay.
markets or custom. I don't know if you can see these. I made all these.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. And this necklace.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna have to buy one.
Oh,
You sell
that's
them
cool.
online or just in
So I
person?
I don't have a shop yet, and honestly, when Uranus went into Gemini in the summer, I thought that was gonna be my moment to like start a shop because with
Hmm.
like Mercury and technology and all that, but it just did not end up happening. So I kind of just have a business Instagram, and people order from there.
Okay.
But that's one thing I do, and then I do a few odd jobs here and there, and then I just started reading like astrology birth charts for people.
Okay, awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
So, being a Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, what would you say like is coming up for the Sag placements? Either this month because it's Sagittarius season, or with like all the outer planets moving into different signs, like what you said, Uranus moving into Gemini. Like, how do you feel like being a Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising? There's like a lot that's happening in Sagittarius right now. There's the sun, Mars, Venus is there, Mercury is entering in a few days. So there's a lot that's happening to the Sagittarius. How are you feeling? There's a lot that's happening in your first house.
There really is a lot. If I'm being honest, it feels like just like generally with all the Sagittarius energy that a spotlight's on me. Like
Yeah.
as soon as the sun moved into Sagittarius, it literally looks like a switch, and it's like, okay, get up, get going, like, and then all these things have just been popping up to do, and then it's like birthdays, and there was Thanksgiving last week, and then my birthday's
Yeah.
next week, and then there's a lot of like creative pursuits that I want to get going, and then just like expanding on my astrological skills and learning like different methods and such.
Hmm.
And there's honestly a lot coming up for Sagittarius. Before I get into that, I want to talk about the full moon that's right now.
Yes.
But what I didn't realize until yesterday was that, they squared the nodes like
Hmm.
exactly. They were all at 13 degrees. And it literally gave eclipse vibes, especially with it being like the Pisces Virgo, since the nodes are there still
Yeah.
because the past eclipse, I literally got so sleepy, like out of nowhere, and it was during the like totality of the eclipse. And
Hmm.
as soon as the moon was getting around full yesterday, like 5:15, I just got like overwhelmingly sleepy, and I had slept like pretty good last night, and I just took a little nap, and yeah, it just felt really eclipse-like.
Interesting. Well, it's the last full moon of 2025. So
Yes.
this year being that it was a 9 year, this is the last full moon. I've been saying that this year has been like the turning point, sneaky peek kind of year because of all the outer planets dipping its toes into a new sign. And now they're kind of like retrograded back into Pisces and Uranus is in Taurus. But we kind of saw like Uranus in Gemini, we saw Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries. Now they're back, they're retrograded back, but being that all the outer planets next year in 2026 are going to be in different signs. Pluto's already in Aquarius. Like society is going to be completely different. And then being that 2026 is a 1 year, like it's just on point for everything that's happening. 9 year being like the crumbling of an old and destruction, and a 1 year is like a rebuilding, a almost like an infancy um kind of vibe and feeling. So I think with this last full moon, there was a lot of realizations of a lot of people just being over it and wanting a change, but like a 180 change, like a complete change, not a little change, like a complete change. And there was a lot of heavy emotions under this full moon for sure, a lot of realizations. I did notice, yeah, the sun squaring the node, which is kind of like an ego versus a higher calling type of vibe. So I know in my personal experience, something that I can relate to, a lot of what a lot of people are dealing with is like something that their ego is dealing with. And they're feeling a pull from like a higher calling, a higher power, like almost a pull from their future selves to move in a different direction. And it's kind of like a head versus heart thing happening right now.
I definitely feel that too with the nodes in my fourth and tenth houses,
Hmm.
like Pisces and Virgo, especially with like really similar to what you said, like the ego. Like in my example, I was working at a restaurant. Well, yeah, I was working at a restaurant, and then
Hmm.
also like delivering orders, and that was like what my ego needed to feel safe because like although I do make a lot of money from the jewelry when I'm putting the effort in and you know getting clients, and sometimes I'll just even come in a random lucky windfall. And then also with the birth chart readings, like people will come every now and then, or for like if someone finds out that's what I do, they'll ask for it. It's just like my ego's like, no, like you need to do this in the physical to be safe because you never know if like, this will be sustainable for, your preferences for life and things of that nature.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That I relate to you heavy. Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle isn't over yet. We're still in the midst of it. But being that it's squaring your nodes and your Sagittarius placements, do you find that that has been a theme for you? Like kind of your ego versus what you're meant to do?
Yeah, definitely. So like there's a lot of transformation that's happened this year, especially around the eclipses and in the specific houses too. So Pisces rules my fourth house of home, and then Virgo's in my tenth house of like public and career and public
Hmm.
image. So I noticed that around the eclipse, like a house, like which can be shown with the fourth house, literally like moved out of a house into a
Mm.
newer one with my boyfriend too.
Okay.
So, and it was much bigger too for us and the animals. So
Okay, I
I
love
was,
that.
oh, thank you. But that was something, and it was actually pretty literal. And I was like, wow. But it actually was a lot deeper than just, another move. It was kind of like my inner child's like, okay, like you have like another fresh, clean slate, but you don't necessarily have to go anywhere directly after this. And you can decorate it all like that you would want it to. And like, I also grew up with a lot of siblings. So
Hmm.
we often had to like share space sometimes or like just share things. But, this time it was just me and him. And we also lived with his mom before. So
Okay.
there was like that dynamic, but, now it's just us and the animals. So it just really felt like a fresh, clean slate. It was like, although there was a lot of tumultuous stuff and like having to work a little more or just a lot of things that were being asked of me from like others or just like my career and the stuff I wanted to do. But then I feel like I also got like the blessing when it comes to like safety and like being more safe. Like I've also been tapping into like calming my nervous system and like
Hmm.
realizing the importance of that. And then also just like expressing myself throughout the home. Like we painted all the walls. The bathroom's orange, our room's purple, the living room's yellow, the kitchen's green.
I
And
love that.
it's nice. Like little stuff
Yeah.
like that makes my inner child so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love color and houses. I love that. I love that you're doing that. Eclipses in the first, fourth, seventh, and tenth houses are most pivotal. So definitely being a Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising on top of it too. There's definitely a lot of changes that's probably been happening for you since the Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle started. Like September 2024 was the first eclipse, but now we're smack in the middle of it and it's going to be continuing for another year. So I would say we're like and like more than halfway through the eclipse cycle, but the eclipse cycle story still isn't over yet. So I always say there's like a domino effect when eclipses happen in your pivotal houses. And it's almost like, okay, you and your partner are getting more serious, and then that affects your living situation. Now you guys are living together. Now, because you're living together, just you two and the animals, that causes like an identity shift because now it's like a different chapter of your life that you've never been in. And through that, through an identity shift, then causes like changes in your career, causes changes in your relationship. It causes like, or vice versa, like maybe your partner is also having identity shift changes too. And then in effect, it affects yourself, your identity, or what you decide to do for a career, what you decide to do with your living situation. Like, um, that is definitely a big thing. So I think that's awesome that you're finding like stability and foundation in your living situation and you're making it so your inner child can sing and be happy because you're probably going to find so much more clarity of things within yourself from that, like having a place where you can return to and have your own sanctuary. And who knows what kind of things and information you find by doing that, especially like you have Scorpio placements in your 12th house. So you find a lot of wisdom by being in your lonesome and like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
being by
true.
yourself. So who knows what you're gonna be able to tap into when now you have like a sense of stability at home and what kind of things you'll learn about yourself or what you'll find there, you know?
Yeah, and actually, that's really like nice how you explained it with the first, fourth, seventh, and tenth house, and it really does make sense, like how one thing can trigger like all of them to flow with these
Yeah.
past things that's been happening,
Yeah, for sure.
especially in my
Um,
case too, because my boyfriend he's a Sag Sun and Sag Rising too,
I
so
was
like
gonna ask what his big three is.
Virgo Moon, but Sag
Okay.
Sun, Sag Rising like me.
That is so interesting. Same sun and rising sign.
Mhm.
When did you guys start dating?
Oh, we started dating in 2021, but
Okay.
I've known him since 2020 when I moved around here.
Okay, awesome. That's crazy. I don't think I ever dated someone who has the same sun and rising sign as me. So it's almost like you guys are like doing life together and everything makes sense and like flows well together. I actually like when partners have the same rising sign because you are going through very similar things at the same time. It's almost like you found your twin, your life partner. Everything is happening at the same time. So that makes sense. I
Yeah,
love
that's really
that.
how it feels. He actually has more Sag places than me. He's having a lot of returns right now. He got the sun there, his rising, his Mercury, his Venus, his South Node. I think that's
Oh
everything.
shit.
Yeah, he is the Centaur.
Literally. Oh snap. So all the Sagittarius transits are literally smacking all his natal planets right now.
And it's Chiron, but I think Chiron's still in Aries right now.
So then your Venus falls in his 12th house too. Okay, period. I love that. It's like I low-key love 12th house synastry, but I'm a Scorpio rising, so that's why I like 12th house synastry. I'm like,
Probably
it's
feels
so
familiar.
yes, it feels familiar and it feels uh like I've loved you in past lifetimes and I know it type of vibe.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Are you excited for Uranus moving into your seventh house? What else? Saturn and Neptune is going to be. Where does Aries lay in your chart again? What house is
On my
Aries
fifth
in?
house.
Your fifth house. Yeah. So how do you feel about that next
I
year?
actually am looking forward to it. I'm not sure exactly what to expect, especially with Neptune. Like Neptune can be a planet that's hard for me to personally decipher. And I feel like
Hmm.
it's kind of spot on because it's like, can be illusions and delusions too.
Yeah.
But I'm personally excited for it because when we got a little taste of it, like earlier this year, I think, when Neptune was there for a bit, and I believe Saturn too, and then Uranus was in Gemini before all the retrogrades happened.
Hmm.
I did notice, so, or focusing on Uranus first, I did a lot more things with friends and actually like made a lot more connections that were just like
Yes.
unusual or just like spur of the moment, like just happened. And I was like, I kind of like this.
You'll meet so many people, Uranus
Mhm.
going through the seventh house. Yeah.
So that was fun. And I'm hoping that that will happen again, when Uranus re-enters my seventh house. And then
Yeah.
Saturn and Neptune in Aries, that's my fifth house, or the fifth house for full sign Sagittarius rising.
Hmm.
And I noticed that I was able to like create and paint and just like express myself creatively and things of that nature and just like want to make stuff a lot easier. And like my dreams, like my actual like deep dreams and like desires and like wildest dreams, you could say, was in more focus and it just seemed more possible in that moment. I think it has to do a lot with Saturn there because it's like, okay, it's time to take your creative interests seriously. And I felt like
Yes.
that's what was happening.
Exactly. So it's funny because me being a Scorpio rising, I've gone through these transits that you're about to go through. So obviously it's going to look different, but a little different, but also kind of similar at the same time. And what I think is going, why I like Neptune and Saturn going through your fifth house for you personally at the same time is you being a creative yourself. You make jewelry, you're offering readings and stuff like that. Um, you're wanting to do the sound bowls and stuff. It's being able to be a creative and having Neptune's like creativity and rose-colored glasses and kind of like being able to just like flow in happiness and kind of, that la la landness, but then Saturn is there to ground you and it's like, okay, you can do this, now let's make money off of it, or you can do this and let's make a business out of this, or like I'm gonna ground your creative ideas so we can lift it and like make something not only stable but long lasting and not only serious but like future oriented too, like let's make this something. Let's create
Yeah.
something out of this. So I like that. I know personally for me having Neptune and Saturn, I mean it was like in the third decan together, not in the first, so it's a little different, but having Neptune and Saturn together in my Pisces fifth house, it was that. Like it was I had the idea for this podcast. It was me offering more readings and different types of readings and stuff like that. So I used to make crystal candles too. I haven't done that the past year or so, but I want to get back into that too. Yeah. So where can people connect with you, or what types of services do you provide so people can connect with you or purchase a birth chart reading with you or find you on socials?
Well, so okay, on TikTok, I'm on TikTok at abundantly Nas 444. And then I'm also on Instagram, and the name is California. It's it's a little. I'll like text it to you so you can like maybe put it on the screen or in the
Yeah,
link.
I'll put it in the description for
Okay,
everyone too.
but so California, and then you can book a astrology birth chart reading with me on Instagram or TikTok. I don't necessarily have like an official like website set up and all that, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty easy to contact, so you can just text me.
Okay.
Same with my jewelry Instagram. The name for that one is Nas's Flamin' Boutique.
Okay.
And yeah,
Perfect. I'm gonna have to follow that one and purchase something.
thank you.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast. It was so good. And I'm excited for all the Sag placements to listen.
Yes, me too. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, of course. All right. Have a great day and happy early birthday.
Thank you so much, and have a great day too.
Thank you.